I would be on one
Really?
now. It's the best holiday in the world, let me tell you. Get yourself off on one, you'll love it.
I just might.
Obviously still in the pay of a cruise ship company there, but a bit of PR. I'd like to give it a try. And of the One Show ladies tonight, Lucy Siegel and Dr. Sarah Jarvis are in the house.
The house, that was very Northern Irish, yes. Well done.
With the NHS celebrating 60 years in business, the buzzword bandied around all the time in healthcare is choice, and central to choice is a new system for booking hospital appointments called Choose and Book.
As Justin Rowletts found out, the system's getting a mixed reception as it's giving some patients a bit of a headache.
In the old days, your doctor would refer you to hospital and a few days later a letter would arrive in the post giving you the details of your appointment, but times have changed. This new system, Choose and Book, allows patients to make their first outpatient appointment online or by telephone. Choose and Book allows you to choose the date and times that suit you best. What's more, you can also choose where you want to be treated. You could pick any NHS hospital in England, as well as private hospitals with health service contracts. You might go for the nearest hospital, the cleanest hospital, the best hospital, or perhaps the one with the shortest waiting list, whatever matters most to you. Sounds pretty simple, except that some people have found the system difficult to use. Carol Currell is one of them. She's got severe arthritis in her knee, which requires an operation.
I thought it sounded wonderful. I choose a hospital, I ring a number, and I get an appointment. But that wasn't the case. There were too many phone calls to make. Nobody knew what the other person was doing in the Choose and Book system. It was actually about 16 phone calls later that I managed to get an appointment.
So what was the final outcome? Did you get the hospital you wanted?
No, I didn't. I ended up at a different hospital.
Whilst waiting for her appointment, Carol's condition worsened and she was forced to miss her regular dance classes.
It's such an awful ache and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse until you're climbing the walls. I'd been pretty distressed through the whole thing. It took at least 5 or 6 weeks to get from the start of this to getting the appointment. And it was pretty horrendous. The stress level was very high. Carol's not the only person finding the new Choose and Book system complicated. At GP surgeries, like this one in southeast London, they're finding that only half of all patients are making appointments using it.
They have to go through a procedure involving code numbers and telephone calls, which the older person might find difficult. We all of us like to have choice, but choice is more meaningful to one group than to the older person, perhaps.
Some of the patients in Dr. Lettington's waiting room have mixed feelings about Choose and Book.
I'm completely computer illiterate. I wouldn't know even how to turn one on.
I was told that they would phone me back, and I did wait for that phone call. That phone call never arrived.
I still think it's good to have the choice, because if that hospital can't facilitate what you want, then you have got the choice to go somewhere else.
Whatever the criticisms of Choose and Book, it's now been used to make nearly 8 million bookings. And one of the doctors implementing the new system is confident all patients will adapt.
When you're introducing anything new into the NHS, you will always see bits of the population that will adopt it sooner than others. But we are talking about a major cultural shift across the entire population. Choose and Book has been designed to be used in as a flexible way as possible. The opportunity of actually choosing when you're seen, rather than just waiting and passively receiving an appointment through the post at a time that may not be convenient to you, is a pretty revolutionary change.
Ultimately, choice seems destined to help the patient. But for those who feel let down by the system, like Carol, getting it right can't come soon enough.
With the difficult few months I've had, I just want to get my operation out of the way now and get back to line dancing fully and have the fun I used to have.
Dr. Sarah Jarvis is here. We don't want to give you the impression that this is forcing all patients to go online and make their own decisions. You can do it as a GP, can't you?
Oh, I can, and indeed I often do. Funnily enough, the biggest bit of the process for me is actually getting into the system, because it's a bit like the little girl with the little curl. When it's good, it's very, very good. And when it's bad, oh, It's a nightmare.
But you've got the patient sitting there,
Yeah.
and you're trying to...
You've got the patient sitting there, and the trouble is, it kind of gets in the way of the
It's less
consultation.
personal in many ways then, isn't it?
It's much less personal. And for some patients, it is fantastic, because they can leave my consulting room with an appointment, and they really do love that. But it has to be said that if the computer system isn't working, and all too often it's not, you can't refer to a consultant you want to, you have to refer to a hospital. Most of my patients don't really want choice. They want their local hospital, or they want what I recommend, what I think's best. So often I get, well, where would you go? Or
Well,
they want...
You trust your GP, don't you, you know?
Jane, see, I don't want choice. It takes up too much time. There's too much choice. Choice of utility supplier, choice of all sorts of things. I just want the cheapest one and the best one, or
Darling,
whatever.
that's because you're a man.
That's why. But if you need an operation or something, do you really want to go through a load of websites? So you just want to go to your GP. I said, right, I want the best man to do the best operation, or the best woman in the best...
well, that's
in the shortest
choice.
amount of time.
That is your
I know, but I
choice.
want my GP to sort it out for me. Get me that. I don't want to have to make the choice. What do I
But
know?
sometimes it doesn't happen that way, does it? I mean, in a real world, we would love just the best of the best every time, but it doesn't happen like that. Of course, people don't like change. We're all like that, especially in this country. We like what we know what we like what we know.
Yeah.
But now, your GP does change. You know, it's very often you go to the doctors in your local doctor, and it isn't your local doctor, it's somebody else coming in now. So I think we have to embrace this. I think it's a very good idea, because now we can get in quicker. We can get in to a hospital that is, OK, it's not so much near us, but... you know, they're going to get the operation done, and that is really important, don't you think?
Absolutely, but as I said, my anxiety is when it doesn't work. You know, do you want your doctor to talk to you, or do you want them to talk to a
So it's an
computer?
IT issue, and let's hope it's a teething problem. It sorts itself out. You want further information on the Choose and Book system, have a look at the website, bbc.co.uk/The One Show. Sugar daddies, they've been around for donkey's years, quite literally, some of them. Old men with young, pretty girls on their arm.
But let's put the shoe on the other foot. Take these three. Demi Moore, Barbara Windsor and Joan Collins. There they are. And their men. Ashton. What's their names again? Ashton, Scott and Percy.
Well,
there they
15 years is the gap between those two. Trifling, nothing. Between these two, Ashton and Babs, 26 years.
She looks great, doesn't she?
And Percy's a young man with a very old name, and he's 32 years younger than Joan. I mean, if you're going to be a sugar mummy, that means your future bloke is 4 years away from being conceived.
When you put it like that, it's maybe a bit dodgy, but, you know, if they're happy. Anyway, I don't know. What do you think, Jane?
Now talking about the NHS, I think that should be on the NHS. I think every woman should have a go.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, I can highly recommend it. I did have a much younger man for oh, look, I'm getting all red just thinking.
I see that, you're getting all flustered.
And it was wonderful. And I think, yeah, if you can... things are changing. Women, especially now, in their 40s or the latter years, are a lot more trendy, a lot more...
Oh, yeah.
you know, we know what we like, and once again, we like what we know.
Too, right?
Let's meet some, shall we?
Yeah, Lucy Siegel's met some like-minded women who don't mind the gap.
It's pretty tough for a girl to take care of herself in life. I mean, to have a successful career, a loving family, and to find that dream man. But some ladies are no longer happy with that well-worn image of hubby on the sofa in slippers. And now, many mature, single women are on the hunt for a toy boy. Men have been going out with younger women for ages, and it's pretty much been socially accepted. Whereas for women...
They can't win. Their parents with traditional values think they should know better, while their children with modern values think they've completely lost the plot. So why are so many middle-aged women becoming latter-day Mrs. Robinsons? So, Venetia, what are the qualities that you like in a younger man?
Their energy, quite eager to please, and they're fit.
Aren't you afraid that you're going to get dumped for a younger woman?
We have more independence. We're making more money. We're buying the wine at dinner. If they're going to stray, they're going to stray.
What advantage do you think you've got over a younger woman?
You're infinitely more interesting to a 20-year-old than a 17-year-old girl, I promise you.
Are you looking for a relationship?
Aren't we always? Yeah. Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah.
There's always two sides to a story. So what makes a toy boy tick?
Ben, how do you feel about being known as a toy boy? Is that an offensive title?
I'm really glad to be called a boy at 36 years of age.
What's the age gap between you and Vanessa?
10 years. When someone's older,